Castlevania started its path as a series of dozens of video games, full of Japanese gothic visuals and a unique soundtrack.
From the very beginning, the Castlevania franchise fascinated its fans with its dark vampire charm and was one of the most popular video game series of all time.
For years, Castlevania games were the iconic 2D arcade games. But then something changed for the worse. The once popular franchise lost most of its fans, so its creators decided to bring new life to it. In 2010, Konami, the original copyright owner, decided that the era of 2D games should come to an end and brought a fresh view to the franchise. Apparently, the view was too fresh because it wasn't successful, despite the participation of Kojima Almighty himself.
Anyway, Konami allowed the Spanish company Mercury Steam to create a brand new 3D Castlevania, Lords of Shadow.
What was Kojima's part in it? Probably, he wished the Spanish creators good luck and allowed them to put his name on the poster. The game was weak and lost its gothic charm entirely. The sequel of Lords of Shadow was even worse, so the Castlevania franchise was in danger of extinction. The Castlevania games are almost dead nowadays, but there is something bigger that united the classic games in both Western and Eastern animation.
Netflix's Castlevania is not only beloved by the game's fans, it also found a new audience who fell in love with the dark franchise because of the animated adaptation.
But this animated adaptation wasn't created just because Lords of Shadow failed. Castlevania was in development hell years before it actually aired on Netflix, and it's a miracle that the final product still turned out to be good. The director of the show, Sam Dietz, told RTX how troublesome and complicated Castlevania's journey was.
Kevin Cold, the producer of Castlevania, finalized the deal with Konami in 2007, but the show only saw the world 10 years later.
In 2007, none of the creators even dreamed about their product getting such a positive reaction from the fans.
The original product was meant to be a movie, based on Castlevania III: Dracula's Curse.
Frederator, the production company, planned to make it direct to DVD, but they had to hit pause for a while. Throughout the 10 years, they wrote a bunch of scripts, rewriting and correcting them, until Adi Shankar showed up.
The new showrunner revived the old project and made Castlevania great again.
The creators also developed a unique artistic style, combining Ayami Kojima's, who is not related to Hideo Kojima by the way, work from Symphony of the Night with the style of other popular anime such as Cowboy Bebop and the Berserk. Castlevania differs from other popular anime a lot because it provides a sense of realism in the world of vampires. In the first season, when drunk Trevor is fighting with a monster, he doesn't hit the target right away, and his hands are shaking a bit. He also makes little mistakes during fights, which is pretty funny. Can you imagine Totaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures having shaky hands because of alcohol? Or Levi from Attack on Titan continuously making stupid mistakes? These small realistic details are exactly what makes Castlevania such a big deal.
Castlevania's success is not based just on its great artistic style or breathtaking fights, but also in its awesome script.
From the very beginning, the only person responsible for the script was the writer Warren Ellis. If you don't know his name, Warren Ellis is the creator of Transmetropolitan, one of the greatest cyberpunk comics in history. No wonder Castlevania's adaptation from video game to series went so well. Ellis even paid due respect to the creators of the original game and didn't make any major changes to their story.
Despite the fact that there are a bunch of historical inaccuracies which are extremely hard to ignore.
For example, Wallachia was a part of Romania, an Eastern European country which had nothing in common with the Holy Inquisition. Romanians were Eastern Orthodox, so the Catholic Church had no power in Wallachia. Obviously, the Japanese creators didn't care much for historical accuracy. However, that's why we have such a unique atmosphere in Castlevania.
Let's imagine that all the events took place in an alternative universe, where vampires exist and inquisitions in Romania were a real thing, Mr. Scoffer.
Wallachia would be a much darker place then, Mr. Fullylover.
Hopefully, Netflix's Castlevania still would be a hit show in that alternative universe as well.